Hello, folks. Welcome back. So it's been an interesting evening of insults, racism, bigotry, hatred, and why? Because I covered two stories. Two stories. Number one, I covered the breaking story that the South African Chamber of Commerce USA's Neil Diamond traveled to South Africa, where apparently he met with the American embassy officials in Hatfield. We've seen the photographs of it, so clearly he was there. And he delivered a list of people who had inquired about the refugee resettlement program to the United States since they started taking information around February 8th. 67,042 names. So I took that information, extrapolated a reasonable number of people that would be going with those folks if they were able to go, that are interested in it, and came up with conclusions. And for my troubles, I get insulted and attacked and belittled by people who are either trolls or losers. Also, people who have very thin skins and really can't handle things. So I found some of it entertaining. So also a lot of misinformation by people making assumptions that have no basis. In fact, they're just making assumptions, just getting all torqued out of shape. So I thought I'd share some of these with you guys. Okay, so we'll cover some of these right now. So let's take a look at some of the comments and also some of the actual things that show up in screen captures. So whites are being persecuted, not just Afrikaners. Yes, thank you. That's true. But what does that have to do with my video about the South African Chamber of Commerce USA or my other video, which talked about the experience of one person who went to the embassy and was interviewed? What does whites have to do with anything? Thank you for the gratuitous comment, but we've talked about this endlessly over and over again. So I really don't get why that was posted here. A lot of people kept asking for the email to the embassy. I've provided. I spent a couple hours going through and putting into every message I could find where somebody's asking. But I mean, frankly, that's available on the US Embassy website. As I said, people really, they want to be spoon-fed things. And somebody said, I guess I can't go. I've never been stabbed. Are you being sarcastic? I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Stabbing has nothing to do with whether you can go or not. It was simply relating what this person's interview was. And then this one from this gentleman. It's easy to sit in the U.S. and call concerned people in a deteriorating country complainers. We've literally heard nothing about the program other than just wait. Well, then you haven't been watching my content. So that's the first indication you haven't been watching. I talk about it every day, at least twice a day. And plus, I've done an average of 3 prepared videos, most of them on this subject, for the past 6 weeks. So clearly, I haven't watched my content. He said, no one wants to just sit and wait when they're concerned for their lives or their loved ones. And it's certainly not appreciated when someone calls you a complainer for wanting to know if someone knows anything. Well, I didn't call you a complainer in either of these videos. So you're just making stuff up. So now they're letting people come for interviews only to tell them it's to prepare. I'm telling you, it will maybe be from the 20th of April because logically the department, I don't really care what your opinion is after you sit here and tell fairy tales. And then he says, tensions are boiling over here. So stop disrespecting us before you even arrived. You're fortunate enough to be a citizen of the country. Our ancestors made a mistake coming here. It's not our fault. Well, it's not my fault that you're incapable of thinking cogently. I mean, what are you talking about here? Insulting you. There's no insult in these videos. Let them go to the U.S. Give us place to breathe. Well, never mind the poor English, but Betty Mokugubu 688. Well, it sounds a bit racist, don't you think? Dr. 1011 says, just don't pay before going. It could be a scam. I know people went to the embassy for a scheduled interview to be denied anything was scheduled. These people lost 100,000 Rand. Again, don't pay anything. Scammers will use this opportunity. Well, if anybody's foolish enough to pay someone 100,000 Rand for a free program, well, it's kind of hard to have empathy for them. It's good advice, though, Dr. 1011. So thank you for sharing it. That's very good advice. Other comments coming in. So several Americans actually greeted those people who are interested in the refugee program and said, you're welcome to come to America. That was good to see. And someone says, so it sounds like this is only for people that have suffered and have no job and went through horrific events. No. Where do you draw that conclusion? I didn't say that in the video that was talking about that. I simply related the story of the gentleman who went to the embassy, and that was something that came up in the course of the conversation, which was newsworthy because it showed that the interviewer was kind of antiseptic and sitting back and then heard the horrific situation and started paying closer attention. But you're not listening to the video. You're making conclusions based on nothing, and it's really not helping your situation. So listen to the video and hear what's actually said. Don't make assumptions. So back to this gentleman. And someone stepped up to defend me, and he says, calling people whiny complainers because they're concerned and they have questions is disrespectful. No, it's not. When you pester me 18,000 times in the same stream and I answer the question repeatedly, and then you come in and act like a fool. But that isn't what happened here. That isn't what happened here. I didn't say anything, call anybody to complain. It was a prepared video. You're just being an ass. You're a troll. Go away. People murdered in the streets in broad daylight. So I'm not accepting his insults. Well, there were no insults given until you insulted me. And then I gave you what you wanted. I told you, stop crying like a baby. He said, I know the offer was unexpected, but for how long have we had this outcry? For how long have we had Malema? Well, that's your problem. That's your problem for not engaging with people who wind up voting for Malema. Not my fault. He said, it can't go to my wife's mother's on the farm because they constantly have arson attacks. I would like not to be insulted by someone who sits comfortably in the U.S. and doesn't experience these issues. Well, pal, you have no idea who I am or where I've been. I've been in far graver danger in far more places in probably much longer periods of my life than you ever have. So, don't talk about what you don't know about. And then this gem from this lady, don't rubbish all of us. Agri-SA are our big farmers. They spoke for themselves, not individual whites. It's all good if people want to go. It's fine. But we talk to each other here. Some have never even heard of Trump's offer. We did not say these people did not want to come. I never said they didn't. I said Agri-SA said that. You just confirmed what I said. So why are you attacking me? We, however, dislike people speaking to us who love South Africa. You would not like me saying Americans are lazy. Actually, I wouldn't like you saying anything. So understand it. Agri-SA was talking about themselves, not Afrikaans people. You should state facts, Colonel. Well, I did. I said that Agri-SA said that. And you're sitting here and twisting it all around. You clearly didn't even watch the video. Is this AI? This can't even be a real person. Look on their website. I don't want to become American for a variety of reasons. Well, good. I don't want you to be American if you're this dumb. So Americans and white people talk for me every day saying I'm dumb for staying. What Americans are talking to you telling you you're dumb for staying? You want to go somewhere, that's your prerogative. Well, don't sit here and make up fairy tales and then attack me for the very thing that I said and accuse me of not stating facts when you repeated my fact and then throw it in my face. It's bizarre, to say the least. How many South Africans are moving back to South Africa? How many expats have returned home over the last few years? 359,000 South Africans returned in the past 5 years. Afrikaans-speaking people who have returned home make up 42% of that total. It's funny how you Americans know so much about us Afrikaners. And then, of course, he goes on here and tells me to go screw something on the strip. So I'm not going to repeat that in Afrikaans. Dude, stop shagging the sheep behind the barn. And it's not funny. Your rudeness, your disrespectful behavior is a disgrace, and it doesn't represent Afrikaners well. So if you really are an Afrikaner, grow up. So then he goes on, when somebody responded to me, he says, I'm glad he understands Afrikaans. Maybe we'll learn the nonsense he speaks from outside South Africa is false. And by commenting here about, say, topics, I'm Afrikaans and we're not in any dangerous situation in South Africa. Well, good for you, Gypsy. I think people that shag sheep don't get a lot of people scared of, you shagging sheep behind a barn, people trying to stay away from you. We're actually living free. What South Africa are you living in? Behind walls, concertina wire, cameras. Well, this is just a troll, man. The handful of people that can't escape the past move on. It's not really an Afrikaner. This is a black supremacist, no doubt. But it's adults that are destroying our country for the youth by running around spreading false news. We have our own problems, but we can deal with it ourselves. Really? 73 murders a day? You're dealing with it? Not so well. Trump's agenda is not saving us, but trying to take power away from South Africa so that there's no resistance. Take power from South Africa? What power? The Sandef? your Deepwater Blue Fleet? Dude, come on. The only problem we have is the world's looting our minerals. And yes, and just as there is people quick to leave, there are people more willing to fight and die for South Africa. No, there aren't people willing to fight and die for South Africa. That's part of the problem. You don't have a lot of people willing to fight for South Africa. Not this South Africa. No, it's become a looterania. And loot your minerals? Who's looting your minerals? We spent $430 million buying your minerals in 2023 at market prices. That's not looting. And the guy just didn't end. Just to add to this from South Africa, do you really know how many South African whites are actually laughing at Trump and Musk? No, I don't know any. Why? Do you know some? Good for them. They must be poorly informed. There's really only a handful of white South Africans who like Trump. It really isn't germane. The topic isn't whites. Why are you fixated on white people? The offer isn't even for whites. It's for Afrikaners. And that's a broader group than just white people. Don't forget coloreds and Indians who feel they're part of that group, and even a small number of black Africans. AfriForum and Solidarity is not even represented by more than 1% of white South Africans. Okay, this guy's full of crap. Over 600,000 paid members for AfriForum alone. 2.8 million Afrikaners who are white in South Africa. So from that figure alone, we're talking about 20%. So this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Why would he be choosing one race or ethnicity over others? What's so terrible, life-threatening going on in South Africa? Or does Trump and billionaire buddies want them to come here to take American jobs and work like hell in slum conditions for corporate non-union slave drivers? And are they white or black? Well, Alan, I don't really know what race has to do with anything, and no one's picking race. You are. No one mentioned race. There's nothing in the executive order that says anything about race. I mean, where do you people get this stuff from? There's nothing in here that says anything about race. It's just comical. White South Africans only. How is that okay? Well, Becky Humphrey, I don't know how that is okay. Not okay to me. What are you talking about? Again, nothing about whites. You're making false assumptions. And then some people feel the need to post their things twice. Now, I'll accept that maybe they posted and it didn't show up, but this has happened repeatedly. Why should this program only allow Afrikaners who are farmers refuge status? It doesn't. It doesn't. I didn't say anything about Afrikaners who are farmers in my videos, either one of these videos. And it's not in the executive order. So you're just making shit up there, Jacques Duplessis. Where are you getting this from? Where are you getting it from? Who's twisting your ear? Who's telling you this? Because it doesn't say anything about farmers. Not one mention of farmers in the executive order. 2 pages where it doesn't show up. It doesn't say white anywhere. Nothing says white. So you're living in a fantasy world, or people are telling you stuff that simply is bullshit and you're falling for it. Or is it purely because they're murdering white Afrikaner farmers and their families and the Southern government is trying to hide this from the world? It has nothing to do with that. You're conflating things that occurred in the past that have nothing to do with this order. I can't help you if you can't bother to read the order. I can try to help you. As far as the program, you need to be an active white farmer currently working on or owning your own farm to be eligible for the refugee program. So if you're like me, who lives in the city working in a power plant or coal mine, you won't qualify. Well, Marius Schrammel, where do you get that from? Again, what are you reading? Who's telling you this bullshit? There's nothing about active, white, or farmer. Those 3 words don't appear anywhere in the executive order. Not once. Currently working on a farm. Someone's feeding you bullshit. Someone's feeding you bullshit, Marius. They're taking you for a fool. You don't have to believe me. Go to whitehouse.gov. Look under executive actions on the left-hand side. They've changed the website in the last 2 weeks. It's on the left-hand side. Click on it. Go back to February 7th. You have to scroll back through several pages because Trump issues stuff every day. February 7th, read the executive order. It's not long, a couple pages. You will not find, do a keyword search. Look for active, look for white, look for farmer. Ain't going to be there because there's no such thing. Someone's feeding you a pile of crap and you're falling for it. So here you had a chance to hear the truth. You decide for yourself where you're going to go with that. So what happens if you don't have a passport? Folks, I've been very patient. I've answered these questions so many times. I've got a video for 14 most commonly asked questions on my channel. Please go watch it. There's a whole playlist for the U.S. refugee program for South Africa. What about English-speaking South Africans? Can they qualify? I've answered it, done and dusted 1,000 times. I don't understand why people go to the video that's not about that subject and then ask questions without even taking the time to bother look at the channel. Content creators, not just me, but millions of content creators put a lot of time and effort into producing content to answer your questions or to entertain you, to inform you. I've done that over and over and over again. I don't understand why people, Johnny-come-latelys, just pop on there and go, well, answer me, answer me. I appreciate it and I do my best, but it's an awful lot of people and it's hard to keep up. And people's feelings get hurt if you don't address them. Give them your attention right now. Well, please watch the videos. And then this was a classic one. This is pretty funny. The message was deleted by mistake. I deleted it. It wasn't my intent. I was trying to delete another message and the dynamic page took the wrong message. And so my apologies to the lady who put up there, especially because I want to get a screen capture. She accused me of getting my figures wrong. I said that approximately 10% of Afrikaners, if my math is correct, my expectation of a family of 4 based on average size for 67,042 main applicants, head of household presumably, who show the interest just to the South African Chamber of Commerce USA, just to them, not even to the embassy, not even to other folks like this Amerikaner site or even the 40 or 60,000 people have asked me about it. Just those 67,000, some are single, some are married. So you go an average of four, some have more kids than that, some have less. 4, that's a fair number to go with. 2 spouses and 2 kids. That's 275,000 people. There are 2.8 million white Afrikaners. If it's only for white Afrikaners, which we don't know, but that's a fair assumption based on what's out there, but not a fact. She says my math is wrong. Get my facts right. You call yourself a journalist? Yeah, I do call myself a journalist. Also, I'm pretty good at math. Not great, but good. She said I got it wrong. Basically, she said I got 5%. Well, that's because she gave a figure of 4.5 million for white Afrikaners. That's comical. There's about 4.8 million white South Africans total. 2.8 million of them are Afrikaners. So I think that she needs to work on her math, not me. Also, people keep asking for the email address to the State Department. I initially shared it from the site when they first published it. on the 10th of February after the weekend. And then I really said, I don't know if it's going to accomplish anything by sending it there. You probably just sit in the server. Well, it's clear now, based on one of the videos I did today, that they are going through the list of names they got there, and presumably also potentially now also from the South African Chamber of Commerce. They're going through those lists, and they have offered an interview for some people to get a feel for where the program's going to go. So if you want to send a message to the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria, if you're interested, Pretoria, prminfostate.gov. And it's right here, right there. I'll put it right above me, or I'll put it below me, or I'll put it in both places. But anyway, here's the email address. You can write to the embassy. And you know what? Since they've been reticent to answer but it does appear that these interviews are legitimate, and that's what the video is for. But because I put a video up telling people the interview appears to be legitimate, and I did another video saying that it's likely 275,000 people in a minimum are interested in this, and I just said it doesn't mean they're going to go. It doesn't mean anything going to go. It doesn't mean 5,000 to go. And what do I get for it? Abuse, disrespect, and nonsense. But you know what? That's the nature of social media, and there's a lot of hate wankers out there. But anyway, thank you for participation. If you're a racist and a bigot, thank you for the views and driving the viewership and driving the algorithm for my channel. If that's what gets your day going when you can't release your hand from your member, well, there you go. That's what hate wankers do. And for those who found the videos informative and useful, well, I'm grateful. That's what they were intended for. That's all they're intended for. So if you found it useful, great. If you have a legitimate question, please pop in a live stream and ask your legitimate question. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot. And we'll keep putting the videos out.